I'm a 32-year-old man who started dating my wife, who's now 27, right after she graduated college. Early on, I will fully admit we had a bit of a rocky relationship. She was fresh out of college and still a little immature, and this led to some pretty frequent fighting. Nothing physical, just arguments. And at one point, before we were married, we had one that turned into a temporary breakup. We spent time away from one another, but we both decided that we missed one another, so after about 6 months apart, we made up and got back together and got married. I love her very much, truly, and we have 2 children, a 7-year-old girl and a 5-year-old boy. Now, before we got married, I knew she was still somewhat attached to her ex-boyfriend, and I will fully admit I did snoop around in her phone once or twice to make sure they were no longer in contact with one another, but I found nothing. So, as I said, I'm married to the love of my life and have 2 children that I love. I provide for my family in every way that I can. Unfortunately, this is where things start to go amiss. My wife had a best friend of many years who had been her roommate in college. One day, her best friends came over. Usually, when her friend is over, I give them some space as I don't want to intrude, but I happened to be in the kitchen when they started fighting. I'm not sure what started it, but their voices were already tense when I walked into the room, and within a minute, they were having a full-on argument in front of me. As it got more and more heated, they just started spilling each other's secrets. At one point, her best friend looked me dead in the eyes and told me she felt sorry for me since I'd been raising another man's children this whole time. Before I could ask her to elaborate, my wife threw her out of the house. I was obviously shocked to hear this and asked my wife what her friend had meant by that. But my wife played dumb, claiming she had no idea and that her friend was probably just saying whatever she could hurt her. Obviously, I was troubled by the statements her friend had made. I wanted to believe that my wife was loyal to me. I really did, but I had to be sure, so I went behind my wife's back and ended up speaking to her former best friend about what she had said during the fight. I had hoped I would get a simple, "Oh yes, I was drunk and angry and just saying whatever I could." But what I got instead was her former friend showing me the emails the 2 of them had sent one another about my wife cheating on me. With undeniable proof, my heart shattered. I went home. I decided to double-check just in case her former friend was somehow tricking me. I quietly slipped through the house to my wife's phone and saw that the conversations with her former friend had been deleted from her phone. This confirmed in my mind that she was absolutely hiding something. So I conducted DNA tests on both of my children. Or perhaps I should say on both of the children, as the test came back confirming the kids were not mine. I was devastated. I had been raising another man's children for the past 7 years thinking they were mine. Worse than that, my wife had lied to my face every day for the last 7 years. I'd had it. I confronted my wife, and she denied it once more, claiming her former friend was a liar and just trying to destroy their home. Her tune immediately changed when I showed her the test results. She broke down crying, begging me to stay, and saying we could make it work. I was angry, livid even, but the anger somehow came full circle, and I felt remarkably calm. I tell her that I won't leave. I won't tell anyone about the kids or her infidelity, but on one condition, she must sign a post-nuptial agreement. I told her if she signed it, then yes, we could work it out. Basically, the agreement, which she did agree to sign, said that in the event of a divorce, I would get everything, premarital and marital properties. If a divorce happens, everything I've ever earned as mine. She'd be left with nothing of my earnings and would not receive alimony. She signed it and the lawyer, and I began quietly preparing for divorce while pretending to be reconciling to buy me time for my exit, and then waited 2 months before serving her the divorce papers. I sued for full custody of the kids as well, because despite the genetics, they're well and truly my children, and I'd be damned if I let this dirty woman raise them. It worked because the judge ruled her an unfit parent and the divorce was finalized. I won majority custody of the children, although she is allowed the weekends, thus ruling out my need to pay child support. On the day the divorce was finalized, I made a post on my Facebook and revealed that my ex-wife cheated and betrayed me in the worst way possible, which is the reason for the divorce. Though I didn't reveal that my children aren't biologically mine, my ex was in hysterics after that and kept pleading with me to take it down. But I didn't, It's such a minuscule pain compared to what I've had to endure because of her, so she needs to deal with that. I guess considering everything, I'm not in a bad place. My children do wonder why mommy isn't living with us anymore, but she was never as involved with them as I was, so they're fine without her for the most part. I'll tell them the truth with time, and it's going to be a slow journey of healing from here on. Thank you for reading. OP, I applaud you for keeping the kids and calling them yours, even after finding out that they're not biologically yours. Your wife messed up, and your marriage was obviously dead at that point. There was no going back from what she did. You handled the situation cleverly, and I'm glad it worked out for you. Continue living your life and take good care of your kids. Now, let's get into today's second story. I've been married for 10 years, and together for 13 years. My 33 male, wife 31, is the first and only girl I've ever been with. Backstory. 3 years ago, my wife had an affair with a guy for a year. I had a strong feeling up and down that she was cheating on me with him but couldn't ever prove it. I met the guy and had dinner with him at my house. She claimed he was gay, etc., etc. She convinced me to go to therapy myself due to my insecurities. Eventually, I found out by coming home and finding her sexting with him through WeChat, upon which the whole truth came out. She ended communication with him, we moved, and went through couples therapy, etc. We began the process of rebuilding trust. 6 months ago, I installed a network-wide ad blocker partially on our network, but didn't fully complete the project. I noticed WeChat popping up on the query logs. I confronted her about it. She claimed it wasn't her, she doesn't have an account, etc., etc. The pie hole wasn't configured properly, so I couldn't pinpoint the exact device it was coming from and attributed it to a potential installation error and removed the system. 2 months ago, we upgraded our router, which was a perfect time for me to revisit the pie hole and went through setting it all up properly. For 2 months, there were no issues, no red flags, and no weird activity. She was aware of my reinstalling. Last week, I flew across the country to visit family for Thanksgiving. She couldn't come due to work. Within an hour of me being on the flight, there were pings to the WeChat server from her cell phone, indicating that she had downloaded it again. On her 1 day off, our network showed several pings to WeChat, and then all traffic to her phone stopped, indicating she either left our house or turned off Wi-Fi. She had been texting me sporadically at best on that day, but not very quickly on responses. Our phone logs indicate a massive data spike on her phone at the time she was at home. On the day I was flying back again, several WeChat pings, and then everything stopped for the past couple of days. I haven't confronted her at this point. I don't know how to really. I'm tempted to cut and run at this point. I'm tempted to confront her about it, but she has so convincingly lied to me in the past that I don't want to be made to feel crazy. As a side note, I did not install the pie hole for this purpose. I installed it to block ads. It just has this as a secondary feature. No kids are involved. I've been the primary breadwinner for our marriage. 90% of our income comes from me. However, that also means hiring an attorney early would immediately flag on our shared account. Update. Just wanted to say thank you to all who posted. It has definitely been helpful. I had never heard of gaslighting before. With lots of digging, definitely a perfect example for it, which sucks to admit. What I've discovered, suspect, gaslight bad, big surprise. My wife is narcissistic. My next actions are to figure out quietly how to manage the impact of the impending divorce. No matter how deserving or undeserving she might be of a malicious divorce, that isn't me. That isn't who I am as a person. Thanks again for your time. OP, investigate further and figure out if she's really cheating. She probably is. Document everything and contact a lawyer and discuss how to leave her and protect your finances. Your wife did a horrible thing. Inviting her lover into your home to wine and dine with you is just unforgivable, but you did forgive her anyway. I don't think you fully recovered from that affair, though, but overall, I'll advise you to trust your gut on this. If you feel she's cheating on you again, and you want to leave her, please do it. Don't be a doormat. Your marriage life is running towards the end, and it seems it is hard for you to save this married life at this stage, as it's too late now. So be careful and prepare yourself to face this. See the lawyer before you confront her, so you'll have a backup plan as things will turn south. This is not the way to be in married life, and it's clear that you deserve a better woman in your life. So the sooner you understand and take steps to end things with her, the better it will be for you in the long run. It's not going to be a quick fix and easy to just regain trust. It takes patience and a lot of working on yourself. Go to a therapist on your own and work on yourself. That's what you need right now. I wish you the best of luck with your situation and hope you are able to truly recover. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's stories. If you enjoyed listening, please feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, comment below with your thoughts on today's stories. Take care, everyone.